We're here.
Yep, we are.
Are you
We are.
here? You're in my ear. You can
Get
hear
used
me.
to it.
God, the world is waiting. Get used to it. Isn't that what Mussolini said? I think after the March on Rome. I think
No,
he said no. I'm sorry. Was that Hitler? Oh, I'm sorry. What?
You always bring up these niche figures from the 40s as if I have any association with them.
I know. I'm just a history geek, you know.
Yeah.
Always looking for the obscure corners of the past to smear my opponents. Anyway, you wanted to share something. You had a personal experience with a very famous Nazi.
Yeah. I saw the leader of the Proud Boys, Tucker Carlson. He came through to IU
leader
last
of the
night.
Proud Boys. Now you're confusing people. That's a different thing. He has nothing to do with the Proud Boys.
White supremacist group.
No, but Tucker has nothing to do with the Proud Boys, does he?
You're right. No, you're right. I saw a sign outside. It said he was a Russian asset. That's what he is. He's actually Putin. He's Stalin. That's who I saw. I saw Joseph Stalin, Tucker Carlson. Last night at the.
He's a communist now.
Sure.
Is that what was said?
No. He's just Russian asset. That's all I saw.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
Some old boomer outside with a sign that said Russian asset.
So he did an event in Bloomington, is what you're saying, and you went?
Yeah. Turning Point USA had scheduled this guy named Charlie Kirk to speak, but he couldn't make it, unfortunately. So they called in. They called in the number one broadcaster in the world, Tucker Carlson, to fill in. And instead of monologuing like he always does, he just took questions the whole time. And I think the stuff is on. Yeah, it's on Tucker's website. It's on Turning Point's website. But yeah, it was the Charlie format. He played tribute to Charlie by just taking questions, and dissenters came to the front. It reminded me of when I saw Rabbi Zacharias, the Christian apologist, who did the same thing. If you disagree with me, front of the line, I'll take all questions. And it was very illuminating to see what a crowd of 1,000 plus conservatives think. Yeah, he's not.
Well, what do they think?
They do not like Zelensky. They do not like Bibi. They see them as welfare queens, and they're ready for that to stop as soon as possible. That was pretty uniform and throughout the night. I didn't see any. I was expecting to maybe see some Zionists come out, because it's a Turning Point USA event, and Tucker's involvement with that group has been incredibly controversial. But no, he went harder than Bibi than I've ever seen him go on, and he's named him by name, and he,
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said what's happening in Gaza at least is mass murder. He says it's disgusting, and yeah, he called out Zelensky, called out Bibi by name, and it was because a college student. That was his first critique of the Trump administration is, why are these wars continuing? And he's like, you're absolutely right. And the only thing I can say is there are some people in the administration right now who agree with me, and that's the only consolation I can give to you right now. But yeah, the younger generation and conservatives broadly are sick of this.
Yeah. But what did they say that was racist?
Here's the thing. Race talk is really passé. I mean,
because that's it. It doesn't matter, Michael, how many anti-war statements come out of the right wing of American politics. The left wing of American politics will dismiss it immediately as fascist, racist, and medieval.
Yeah.
So, what?
Oh, it's funny too, because
it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear this, but so what? I'm sorry, very sorry to say.
Yeah,
but anyway, sorry. Yeah.
You would think from the questions that were asked by the liberal college students that they thought that Tucker Carlson was still on Fox News. It seemed pretty obvious that they hadn't engaged with him at all in the last couple years, that they never watched him on the show. And they were acting like it was still 2004, and Jon Stewart just called him disingenuous and fake. and that's where we were in the media landscape. It's these people really have not updated their media literacy or their knowledge of what's happening in the world since then.
They've taken a lot of classes, though.
Oh yeah.
They've done a lot of reading, or at least they've been told about the reading that they've been assigned, which is usually how college students learn the assigned material. Yeah, no, that's they've done a lot of secondhand reading, Michael, assigned to them by experts. Who are you to say that there's a problem with that? I don't these are experts. What do you mean? They have PhDs in their fields, and they tell their students what to read and what to think. Isn't that what you want in a fascist republic? Don't you want the schools to be also, indoctrinating the children in state ideology?
This is something Tucker used to say a lot about elites. Is like, I'm not opposed to elites. I just want my elites to actually be elite. You used to say that all the time, and we have there was a Polish exchange student also, which was interesting. There was a Polish exchange NATO loving student that was there. That was yeah.
Good to have one. They always make sure there's at least one. Langley always makes sure there's at least one of those, and they're always they tell them, make sure, Václav, you go to the front of the line. As soon as they say that, we'll have people there to help you, but just make sure you get up and go to the front of the line. During his Young Americans for Liberty and the Free World conference at Langley headquarters. Anyway, yes,
he defended the NATO's actions in Bosnia, which was interesting. He was like, "Oh yeah, that was really important. They were killing a lot of people out there, and NATO had to intervene." And it was really.
I just want to clarify. I'm not suggesting that every citizen of Eastern European countries has never that no citizens of Eastern European countries have ever wanted to be a part of the Anglo-American sphere. I am just stating for a fact that every single one of them has worked in some way or another in some capacity with an American state-sanctioned agency or institution. That's all. But I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, the ones that are educated in American universities are the ones who we are told speak for the entire populace of the country.
You won't find a pro-NATO Ukrainian who didn't spend some time in some American university or British university or something. Or they worked with some NGO, American NGO. Of course. I mean, come on now, people. So even if they now believe those things legitimately, we have to take into account that now 10% or 15% of these countries, which is true in Georgia, Ukraine, Moldova, it's something like that, maybe a little bit more, but not much, really believe that they would be better off if they joined NATO, which might even be right. It's not irrational. It's just that every damn single one of those people I've ever come across or looked into or looked up on Wikipedia or anything, turns out, again, spent significant time in Anglo-American agencies and institutions. So, sorry. Totally. It's just, it's the empire, baby.
But the slur against Tucker Carlson was that he was disingenuous. That was the big thing, is that he's disingenuous and vaguely full of hate. They didn't say that he was racist. Yeah. And he said, yeah, I'm annoying and I'm not the best person, and I can be. That's what he said. I'm annoying and I can not be kind to people, and I wish I was more gracious when I'm on. But I'm totally ingenuous and transparent, is what he said. And for people who I've been frustrated with Tucker for the last year or so.
Yeah.
Or the last couple years since he's had the interview format of his show. where he does this thing where he plays dumb, and he's like, "What do you mean USAID is funding revolutions in places? Are you telling me American taxpayer dollars are doing this? Why would somebody punch a grandmother? I thought grandmothers are kind, and like, why would somebody do that?"
You mean I'm paying to have grandmothers punched?
Yeah.
Who knew?
Who knew?
his laugh. Someone's got to talk to him. Someone's got to talk to him about his laugh. But anyway, yes.
Yeah. But this was very transparent. He was he played dumb a little bit on a couple issues just to sidestep them a little bit, like on redistricting and a little thing. But this was a stream where he stood for himself. He took adversarial questions, he took hard questions, and he very transparently said what he believed. So
wow. Okay.
So if you're a Tucker fan and you want to see that, find the stream on TPUSA and check it out. It's probably going to be on his stream soon. I've
always said this: when Tucker is good, he's great.
Mm-hmm.
He's not good, he's great when he's good.
Yeah.
But when he's not great, he can be a juvenile idiot. And I find it sad because he could be a great public intellectual, but his absolute, and he acknowledges this too. It's interesting, like, which I give him credit for, but it still doesn't make him a better public intellectual. His sort of compulsion to belittle people he's talking about or talking to, you know, it just, and to mock them and to be sarcastic, and then the laugh, it really, it just, all of it together, it undercuts him as ever being a candidate for the pantheon of great intellectuals. He just, it's which is too bad because he has the ability. I mean, as I said, when he's good, he's great, meaning he's like one of maybe half a dozen at most journalists who have operated in establishment media in American history who have been worth anything. I mean, before he was
fired, he was the best guy on cable news.
No, but I mean, seriously, I'm just thinking back, like which journalists working in establishment media, you know, he worked in Fox, right? And CNN too, you know, have been actually worthwhile. Like they actually contributed anything that we wouldn't have known otherwise, or, you know, that wasn't filtered through propaganda. You know, I'm not even sure there's 5. I mean, maybe during Vietnam, there were a few who did real reporting and really exposed that war, who worked for CBS, ABC, NBC, etc. But man, it's far and few between. David Halberstam, New York Times, maybe, probably. Again, Vietnam. Other than the handful of Vietnam War era, I can't think of an establishment journalist who actually exposed things that changed history. Yeah, he's
Seymour Hersh, but
well, yeah, right. But he's not establishment. My point.
Yeah,
no, there's lots of
non-establishment.
Oh no, of course, there's legions of non-establishment journalists and historians who have done that work all the time to this day, and more, thank God, every single day with the internet. And my God, I mean, they're all over the place and they're changing politics everywhere. But those who started in establishment media, began their career, and in some ways are still attached to it, like he is. No, he's the one. I mean, he doesn't do any of his own reporting, but that's fine. That's fine. But he does absolutely convey reporting that is fundamentally anti-establishment. And by the way, Tucker is not just a creature of the establishment media. The kid is absolutely the creature of the establishment. I mean, his father was the head of Voice of America, I believe, or the agency that oversees Voice of America, and I think all the propaganda networks run by the State Department. I'm pretty sure he was head of at least VOA, but I think above that. I mean, so, you know, which works hand in glove with all the intelligence agencies and always has, of course. You know, and I forget which prep school he went to, but it was one of the elite, you know, State Department funnel prep schools in the Northeast. it's incredible. There's particular schools in the Northeast, both prep schools and particular departments in Ivy League schools that just are, and Tufts. There's some non-Ivies too that do this, that are just direct funnels into the State Department. There's no question about it. You know, like SIPA, I've mentioned this before, the School of International Public Affairs Department at Columbia, like that's where Hillary Clinton is a faculty, you know, and Victoria Nuland is faculty, you know, so like, and there's every Ivy League with a grad program in international affairs is that. It's an incredible. Anyway, so anyway, go ahead.
A couple more insights from it.
So Tucker, I'm just saying, just last thing. So Tucker comes from the soul of that beast. Yeah. Not the belly. He comes from the soul of that beast, which I'm just giving him extra credit. It's easy for me, Berkeley hippie, radical, whatever, to say this shit. But for him, and it's funny, he's from San Francisco aristocracy, but whatever. Otherwise, we have a zero in common. Yeah, it's amazing, like, that he's done this. So kudos. Tucker, stop with the middle school mocking, sarcastic, laughing shit.
Yeah. He can't help himself. It probably is from boarding school, but
yeah, he has said this. I've heard him say that. Exactly. That's right. He said that. Yep. He's at least self-aware. I'll give him that. It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah. But yeah, he said that he supported the Iraq War and he feels horrible about it. And he decided after he got fired from Fox News that as an independent, he can do whatever he wants, and so he's going to push as hard as he can to stop a war from happening. And that seems pretty transparent. That seems it was cool to hear him say, "That's my bias. That's my agenda." And very, very transparent about it. And anybody on the left should be able to get on board with it. And I think he's been the most effective guy at getting the right wing on board with it as well, and changing the most powerful people's opinions about it. In a very calculated way.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who opposes all of the wars on the American radar, you know, which he does, and when I say radar, I mean sort of the historical radar. So all the wars that Americans think about, meaning sort of the last 20 years, you know, something like that. Yeah, he's now, and has been for a while, officially, totally, relentlessly, completely opposed to publicly. And he has a major audience. Anybody like that, I'm going to allow them into my speaking tribe, at least, right? People I speak to, certainly. And even if they want to deport, 65-year-old Mexican farmers who have lived here for 30 years and have their two sons in the Marine Corps and whatever, yes, I will, because those are the most important issues. And not to moralize or be normative here, but I will. I don't understand, I guess, why people don't have those always as their two top issues. And I think that if people are correct with your feelings and ideas about those issues, yeah, I think you should give them wider latitude on everything else in terms of any kind of coalition, or simply like being willing to retweet them. I mean, that's sort of my standard. If I'm willing to retweet them, they have to reach that threshold. If you're opposed to both the NATO war against Russia, which is what the Ukraine war is, or supporting Israel, if you're opposed to either one of those, yeah, man, I mean, that's enough for me to like march with you.
And every other issue is downstream from those issues.
Yeah, or at least organically connected to them, for sure. Yeah, I mean, again, like, so the war is always the top issue for me, as it should be for everyone. I just don't understand why it's not. But second and third are fairly close, which are prisons and immigration issues where the state does direct violence on the body, that's, and then taxation would be under there too, to sound like an ANCAP, that's violence too, but it's of a lesser order to me, just according to like the violence I prefer. I've experienced state violence, of some sorts, but like, so I have a hierarchy, that it's all bad. But if I'm going to choose, yeah, there's no question. Being drafted to go to Vietnam would be the worst. Well, no, the worst, of course, is going to the gas chamber. But generally speaking, it's the draft, it's killing others, being coerced to kill others and to die in a cause you didn't sign up for. But yeah, when it's about stopping people from moving to certain parts of the globe simply because we happen to be born here, that's really bothers me, because it involves massive state coercive violence, and then prisons. And I've changed my mind about crime and stuff a lot in the last few years. And I think that, I need to have many people to be in prison forever, of various categories, which I've discussed before. I am very clear about that now. I have no qualms whatsoever about it. I don't want to kill them, but I definitely need, just for my own personal values, I don't want to live in a society in which those people are around. But so anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Another thing, Indiana's governor, Mike Braun, spoke. And
do you know that you might win the national championship? Do you know
that? Yeah, we're number 2, man.
This is insane.
It's
in football,
it's in Ohio State,
not in basketball. In football. Incredible.
I know. Yeah. And then, I'm really excited about Coach Sig. I like a good coach. That's all I care about. I like
fellow Dago.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you love him?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Sorry. Onward. No one cares. Okay,
I like somebody who can take, he's got, his real test will be when what he can do with new players 5 years from now, if he's still here. But
Michael, no one cares about college football. Uh-huh. Why do you keep talking about it?
I know. And this is another insight, is that we are I'm one of the losers who went to a political event and hasn't actually been to a football game when they're the best in the world. Like, normal good people are going to football games, and losers are going to No Kings protests and TPUSA events.
Not normal good people, normal happy people.
Yeah.
Normal people who enjoy their lives more than people who are political.
Yeah.
And especially radical political.
Yeah.
Of the right or the left. If you want to meet an unhappy person, just go throw a rock at any radical left or right wing convention. Mm-hmm. You'll hit somebody who's really unhappy.
Yeah.
Kids,
but I saw.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I saw my governor speak, Mike Braun, and not to rag on that guy, but him and my senator, after seeing him speak, Todd Young, they're really out of touch. They're really out of touch and really old. They're not. Todd Young's not super old, but for example, Mike Braun said, "I haven't been to this auditorium since 1974 when me and my wife saw Shana Na," which is
I was like, wait. I'm 60. How old is Michael talking about? Oh, yeah. Shit. That's really okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I haven't been in haven't been to like a major meeting point of one of my constituents where people actually go and do things in over 50 years to see a doo-wop revival band. Yeah. That's really, really connected with the kids there.
Wow. And, Shana Na. Wow. I was 7. And I hated Shana Na when I was 7. Hated them. No, I did. Them and the fucking, what were they called? That goddamn. There was another similar Dago group, 5 dudes from Jersey or someplace,
and one black guy.
Was that racist?
And one black guy.
No, they were definitely Dagos. But what were they called? Damn. And they had the high pitched falsetto, all 5 of them.
Yeah. Oh,
It would like cut steel. It was horrific. Them and Sean, and they were on every commercial when I was trying to watch my commercials on Saturday morning, my cartoons on Saturday morning. It just, what's with your people, man? Why do they? Because they used to be great singers, and then all of a sudden they're whining, and through my superhero, what's it called? Super Friends commercials. Why would you do that to a kid? Go ahead, Michael.
These are your people. I recently learned that Sha Na Na came out of Columbia University, so they are.
Are you serious?
Yeah. They're one of the cultural. They formed in Columbia. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Wow. Them and the Cold War both came out of Columbia. Well done, Columbia. Once again, Jesus fuck. God. Eugenics. The atom bomb came out of Columbia.
Yeah.
The idea was founded there. Yeah, it's good. And Sha Na Na. I mean, it all fits together. Correct. Go ahead.
One more insight. Young people.
I'm sort of against them these days, but yeah. What?
A lot of the liberals who are asking questions, the college students, young college students, very layered in irony, pretending to be above it all, not actually making a point, just rambling on and making a show of it. Yeah. Not good faith actors, not serious people. The TPUSA chapter president was, I'm sorry to rag on this kid because God bless him. He's doing the best he can. But the guy who brought out Tucker, this was obviously the first time he's been in a theater in front of 10,000 people talking. And
is this that kid who's on private jets?
No, this isn't Brian Hollyhan. This is a local guy.
Gotcha.
But there is a serious problem with apprenticeship and young people not being made ready to be put into positions of leadership and being mentored and taught how to speak in front of 10,000 people, how to bring a speaker on stage, how to not get carried away with your emotions, what you're being called to do, I saw this too, just to transition a little bit, Harry Sisson, if you saw him on Piers Morgan.
I saw that he was on. I didn't watch it, but
like really dismissive, really annoying, really grating. Really, does not come across as a serious person. This is as they keep trying to bring these young people up. Yeah, it's very obvious that he doesn't care about anything, and that he's doing schoolroom
you think
tactics.
He doesn't care? You think he doesn't care?
I mean,
he just doesn't know. What is it?
I mean,
don't you think he cares? I would think he cares,
but I don't think he cares about issues. I think he cares about partisan politics.
He legitimately thinks you're evil, though, don't you think?
He doesn't have enough self-discipline for me to register. That's the problem is the lack of self-discipline, and the grating and talking over people and rolling your eyes and laughing and yelling and talking about poop memes. Like, this is all you care about. You care about poop memes. And this is juxtaposed against Scott Horton. The whole panel juxtaposes against Scott Horton.
Right.
That's the thing, is they're talking for hours about poop memes, and then he talks to Scott Horton. Yeah, extrajudicial killing is really bad, and we should be really worried about a regime change in Venezuela. This would be really awful. The imperial presidency has been going on for 100 years, and then they just go back to talking about poop memes as if nothing happened. And there's one person substantially talking about issues, and then all people care about is poop memes and also what's happening on the timeline of that day, as if destroying the East Wing of DC of the White House is the worst thing to ever happen to history. That's erasing history. The East Wing.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to be really condescending. You ready?
Please.
My young friend, you are absolutely correct about what today, that snapshot of Piers Morgan and this show. Yeah, Scott Horton was only given 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 7 minutes on the show to expel. It's insane.
Yeah.
Dude. Not even 10 years, 5 years ago. Okay. Scott, if I had said to him, you're going to be on Piers Morgan 5 years from now, getting to say whatever you want to say for and get to debate generals in the U.S. military and Israeli spokespeople, and 5 million people will see it, he'd have been like, pass the bong again. I mean, it would have absolutely impossible, right? So come on, dude. I mean, and Scott is one of dozens and dozens and dozens, not of critics of American foreign policy, straight up anti-imperialist, anti-Zionists are on major channels. Piers Morgan is just one of them. Scott is just one of those. So please don't complain. This is an incredible sea change. And Ukraine sort of started it, but Gaza accelerated it, where the mainstream, the establishment media has had to cave in to the immense, beautiful, gorgeous curiosity of many, not most, but millions and millions of American ordinary people about these issues, because they could tell that it was fishy as shit from top to bottom. And just a good number of people, I think it's in the millions, just wanted to know more. And I know this because actually whenever I have a foreign policy person on my show on Unregistered, like Scott or others, the numbers are always surprisingly high. I expect them to be low, because in terms of issues on public polling, right, Americans always rank foreign policy like at the bottom of their concerns. I don't know, for whatever reason, in the YouTube podcast land, these things are really popular. The Duran has, I think, 400,000 subscribers. I mean, the Gray Zone has like about the same, 400,000 subscribers. I could go on. There's multiple. Kevork Almassian, who's like the Syrian anti-imperialist guy. He's got something like 300, 400, same numbers. It's amazing. Like, there's about 250,000 people or more in the world who like want this content. But so anyway, it's fantastic. So don't complain about this shit. This is
I'm not complaining about
revolutionary. No. About the media landscape and how Piers Morgan has Scott Horton on his damn show. Like, we would have been flipping out 5 years ago if we had heard that Scott would ever be on that show. Right? That's amazing. So go
ahead. And this is the thing. Like, he had Rand Paul on to talk for a little bit, and then Scott came, and then he asked, "Hey, Scott, what do you think about Rand Paul said about Venezuela and everything?" Right. And then, for the 2 minutes he gave Scott Horton, he's like, "All right, back to Hitler and poop memes. What do you guys think about Hitler and poop memes? We're going to talk about Hitler, and we're going to talk about poop." And that's what they talked about for another half hour, after doing a half hour at the beginning about that stuff. And Jack Posobiec was on the call, and Piers could have gone to, "Hey, Jack, you support this administration? What, you've served in the military, you've got naval intelligence ties. What do you think about bombing these ships off the coast? What do you think about the troop surge in Venezuela? What do you think about potentially having a ground invasion in Venezuela?" No, it's poop and Hitler. That's all we get.
Okay, but again, like, he just that he had a segment on this, and an actual debate, and with an actual anti-imperialist, anti-interventionist in the debate. Dude, you didn't grow up in the 70s and 80s and 90s like I did. I mean, that was there were no dissidents at all. No dissent at all. It was just the same establishment talking heads over and over every single night. So this is awesome. I love it. And actually, the fact, Scott specifically, like, because he didn't really see the light of day. I think he was on Fox like twice or something in 10 years. And he was building this entire subculture cult audience following. And then all of a sudden with Gaza, I think, and just recently, Piers Morgan had him on. I don't know if it was Dave Smith. Probably it was Dave who convinced Pierce's people to have Scott on. I mean, no one would touch Scott. And all of a sudden, he's now a regular on Piers Morgan, getting millions of viewers every single time, saying exactly what I would say, what Norman Finkelstein would say, what Noam Chomsky would say about exactly Ron Paul would say about these particular issues, which means the most radical voices in our culture. There is no one more radical than those people on these issues. No, man, it's amazing. And it's awesome. And Pierce, of course, is simply a market instrument. Pierce is interested in audiences. He clearly doesn't give a shit about anything else, really, which again is fine. I don't care. That's fine.
He's a tabloid guy.
But the fact that he has Dave Smith and Scott Horton on as regular guests, like weekly guests now, tells you there's a major audience for this, which tells you there's a massive, imminent social movement that can take down this motherfucking empire. That's what it tells me. This is the most exciting thing that's ever happened in my life politically, as a bellwether, as a sign that those guys and Norman Finkelstein and Max Blumenthal and Aaron Mate have been on these massive, humongous establishment shows and have gotten humongous numbers. Millions of people now know these arguments. Millions and millions of people around the world and in the United States now know the arguments of the major anti-imperialists, anti-Zionists in America. This is huge. And it's not that they're now going to convert all these people. It's that it tells us that there is already an audience, a constituency, a population that thinks these things, that doesn't like the American empire, that doesn't like Zionism, that doesn't like NATO, that doesn't like any of it, that doesn't like any of the wars, any of the interventions, any of the military bases all around the world, any of it. Those people, radical people, we are called, right? Turns out we're not a majority, but it turns out we're big enough that Piers fucking Morgan, the biggest media whore ever, is having our heroes on his show every goddamn week because he now knows there are a lot of us. This is big. I've heard no one say this before. That fact alone tells you that the imperial powers around the globe, headed by the United States, are sitting on top of a powder keg, right? And also because we're talking about Dave Smith, Scott Horton, Norman Finkelstein, Max Blumenthal, Cenk Uygur. I could go on. He's had right-wing, left-wing opponents of empire. Not, oh, we don't like the Iraq war because it was so mean. No, we want to withdraw every fucking military base tomorrow and cut the military budget by about half, at least, for starters. That's who I'm talking about, those people. Yeah, radical. Yeah, it turns out there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of us. Piers Morgan is telling us so because we know that's all he cares about is ratings and numbers, and yeah, which is cool because he's an amazing Nielsen rating device. I am telling you, everybody, we are on the cusp, and I'm not even talking about like the entire massive American right-wing movement against empire and against Israel and against NATO and against all that, which is now basically half the party of the Republican Party. It's certainly at least half of MAGA. So it is, undoubtedly now makes up a major portion of the entire American right wing. No doubt. This is known. Tucker is a great example. Candace Owens. I mean, there's so many now who are opponents of the whole thing. man, what I'm saying here is this is just many, so many data points telling us that the American empires, the rulers of it, the manipulators of it, they're sitting on top of a volcano that's going to erupt. I don't know when, but at any time, because the people ain't with it. And I think Piers Morgan, like, he sort of unwittingly provided that evidence. You know, it would have been absolutely inconceivable. It would have been it just simply would have been a joke 5 years ago to say that Scott Horton would be on the Piers Morgan show. So yeah, I think we're on the cusp of a revolution, a good revolution.
Yeah,
a withdrawal of the empire. Yeah.
So Latin America, a lot's
Speaking
happening.
of that,
yeah.
Holy shit!
What is it? 10,000 naval troops deployed around the coast. Helicopters being sent in. 8 ships
Special ops,
drone bombed.
SEALs and Green Berets, I think it was, or Delta. It was two of the special ops divisions were there. Yeah.
Also
in helicopters within, what was it? I don't know, 30 miles of the Venezuelan coast. Special ops, right? Like Black Hawks full of like Navy SEALs going up and down the coast, basically, of Venezuela. Yeah. I mean, that alone. I mean, imagine if we got reports that, like Venezuelan special operative commandos were in combat helicopters roaming up and down the Pacific coast, 30 miles off the coast of San Francisco and LA. I mean, this is just straight up gunboat diplomacy that goes all the way back to Theodore Roosevelt. And even before, it goes back to Matthew Perry in Japan in the 1850s, launching cannons into Tokyo and saying, sign this trade deal right now. This is free trade. I do think that's the basic game here. It's everybody's speculating because it's hard to read exactly what the motivations are here. But I think so. I think if you add it all up, I think that's what's going on. I think it's Trump doing, because remember, who did he invoke historically when advancing his arguments for the tariffs? A 19th century president, so I do think it's TR. I think it's, and McKinley, by the way, the two of them were gunboat diplomacy, right? So yeah, that's funny. Interesting. Not interesting. I think it explains it. I do. I actually think that Trump is particularly fascinated with that period in American presidential history. And that's when you see it, the use of the threat of military force and invasion and occupation to extract favorable trade deals for the United States. I mean, that's what I would do if I were the big bad bully in the neighborhood. That's what the mafia does locally. They're like, if you don't give us fucking money on our terms, we're going to burn down your house or kill you. So yeah, I think that's the ultimate goal. But so I don't think it's a neocon move. I think the Marco Rubio, of course, inspired it. But my guess, again, this is like very much speculative based on just knowledge of the players here. My guess is that Marco Rubio pitched Donald Trump the neoconservative American imperialist, classical American imperialist Wilsonian argument. Oh, they're bad for the world. They're evil dictators because they sell drugs to children and kill them, and they rule, and they're autocrats in their own country, blah, blah, blah. And Trump, of course, really cares a lot about drugs and law and order and crime. And so he probably bought that. And I think Marco Rubio was into it for ideological reasons, though, which go all the way back to John Adams and Thomas Jefferson and the Barbary pirates and all the rest of it. I mean, yeah, he's a Cuban American, and so he's really interested, especially in Latin America being transformed into America. But Marco's down with the whole project. I mean, I think he's less passionate about transforming Palestine into America and Russia into America, but he's absolutely signed on to that project. And that, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is what the American empire is. It is the project of transforming the entire world into America. I mean, that's what it is. So I think that Marco Rubio is a classic American imperialist in that way. We now call that a neocon, but the neocons are just the purest versions, examples currently of American imperialists. But Trump is not, because he doesn't care. He doesn't care about transforming the world or remaking anybody into anything except for, you know, friends of the U.S. and trading partners with the U.S. in particular, you know, friends of his who are capitalists. So I think what ended up happening is a compromise, which is that Trump is going to use gunboat diplomacy to attempt to force regime change, meaning gunboat diplomacy, meaning threats of military force. And this seems sort of obvious by this point, right? We see a new boat almost every day getting blown out of the water. And then, you know, Trump is announcing the CIA is going to conduct covert operations inside Venezuela. No president's ever done this, by the way, everybody. That's never been done. This is the very first time any president has ever said this, has ever announced in advance that the CIA will be conducting covert operations inside another country. It's like, so, you know, which says that he's not serious about the covert operations, except as a threat. I think it's all a threat to force Venezuela to concede, to, you know, come up with concessions of various kinds, which will like remove Maduro from power and give U.S. companies some interest in Venezuelan oil, which is where it's all eventually heading. Until the U.S. has significant control over Venezuelan oil, there will be the threat of war. Because an empire can't proceed in transforming the world without energy. You can't conquer countries and school their children without a lot of oil and energy to power the steamships and the nuclear powered submarines and everything else that gets you on shore to transform these other peoples in these other places. It's not in a means, and this is where the left is stupid. They think, oh, they just want oil to get rich. No, it's to make ourselves a bigger, more powerful, more effective empire. That's the goal. But I've been talking a while, Michael. Go ahead.
Oil, it's down to $56 a barrel. Trump is trying to push it down to under 50. And that's sort of key in the diplomatic strategy, is to weaken Russia and weaken Venezuela by having cheap energy, so they have less pull, less leverage globally.
Great strategy.
Yeah,
I wish that were our only strategy. Mm-hmm. But yes, yeah.
And the rhetoric about annexing Canada, Canada has huge oil reserves, and if we could actually drill in Canada, like, we're good on energy forever.
Yeah. You have to kill a bunch of Eskimos, though, to get that done, because they won't leave until you kill them. You understand that, right?
They're a very polite people. They're a very
not when you say,
sorry,
bro, you're standing on top of a whole shitload of oil and natural gas, so we're gonna have to remove you from your ancestral homeland. Do you mind? And he'll say no, and then you got to shoot him. Mm-hmm. Do you not know the history of North America? Go ahead. Sorry.
Argentina. A lot of America firsters are angry that we're giving $40 billion now to Argentina.
Wow. What's wrong with them?
Uh-huh.
I mean, what are they? God, they're such ideological purists. Like, what's wrong with giving to a libertarian government?
Yeah. And also,
I told everybody Malay is a piece of shit. I've always known this. I've always said this. Whether you're left-wing, libertarian, even especially libertarian, you should have been distancing yourself, ditching this dude from the beginning. I've been warning people, but they didn't listen, and here we are. And now he's getting a gigantic bailout from the United States government.
Yeah. But also,
Mr.
we're canceling
free market. Sorry.
We're canceling aid to Colombia as well, and labeling the Colombian president, or Trump at least rhetorically calling him an illegal drug dealer.
Yep.
And so you're obviously chopping up South America between Western allies and Chinese allies, I guess, through or potential BRICS allies with Brazil, Venezuela, and Colombia. And Argentina sort of being the lone loyalist to the West. And so it's kind of imperative that Argentina succeeds and stays loyal.
My friend, that's a great intervention in the ongoing discussion about why Trump is doing this regime change operation against Venezuela and Colombia simultaneously. Why? Is he Woodrow Wilson again? Is this just a continuation of what we've seen for 200 plus years in American foreign policy? Another ridiculous, absurd, arrogant, imperialist move to change another society? Or is he doing it because Marco Rubio told him to? Which it could be, by the way. It could be that simple and basic and primitive. Is it because he really is he's really upset about fentanyl overdoses, and he thinks incorrectly, but he thinks that fentanyl is being funneled into the U.S. from Venezuela? By the way, I hope people don't know. I hope people do know this. According to the DEA itself, 0% of the fentanyl in the United States comes from Venezuela, and only 10% of the cocaine in the United States comes from Venezuela. So this whole thing is made up. And I mean, the pretext of it being a part of the drug war is completely made up. And so it's just weird. And also, Trump didn't mention Venezuela until about 6 months ago, right? I mean, he's been talking about the cartels and drug gangs and Latin American drug criminals and gangs for a decade now, nonstop. He never mentioned Venezuela until about March of this year. So there's a debate, but people don't know, because it's not clear to anybody, even the harshest Trump critics, like, what is the actual motivation here for him and for the directors of this insane foreign policy? Like, Pete Hegseth is obviously a bonehead frat boy. I don't think the idea comes from him. I think he just goes along with it. But what is the idea? What's the actual germ here? We're going to do this and it will produce that. It's unclear to everybody, and you just introduced a possibility.
Yeah, it seems like Monroe Doctrine. Keep Western influence in the hemisphere. Keep China out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, yes. Geopolitical, right. And right, the Monroe Doctrine. And that sort of flashed in through my head when I first saw what he was doing in Venezuela. Like, oh, it's a Monroe Doctrine thing. But then I was like, but Trump doesn't believe in any of that shit. So it's like, well, maybe he does and doesn't know it, or I don't know what, but this is, I mean, on the surface, it looks like Teddy Roosevelt marching into Panama and Nicaragua, and Woodrow Wilson marching into everywhere, and then Franklin Roosevelt marching into everywhere else in the Caribbean and Latin America. And like, there were, I think, 30 or 40 military interventions like the landing of U.S. troops on the ground in Central and South America just in the 1920s. I mean, it was nonstop for decades. And it just looked like the exact same thing, you know, following on the Monroe Doctrine, declaring that the entire Western Hemisphere belongs to us, essentially. We saw, you know, the Monroe Doctrine declared all of Latin America as what Israel declares Gaza to be. Like, it's our occupied territory. We're not going to govern it day to day, but we have ultimate sovereignty over it, meaning we will never allow any threat to our existence to operate there. So
yeah, it's well, you could see it as anti-imperialist. You could say, hey, nobody else be imperialist here.
The Europe, right? I mean, the idea at the time, Monroe was about keeping the Europeans out of Latin America, but no, it was also about keeping any indigenous resistance from arising within Latin America. Right, that was the next step. Like they successfully kept the European powers out of our sphere, but then they found out, oh shit, there's other people living there who also don't want us there. So, hence we've had 200 years of guerrilla warfare in the jungles of Latin America.
Trump is going to meet with Xi soon. That was announced. So I think something's coming to a head on that. A little bit in Ukraine. Zelensky met with Trump. Things have been escalating back and forth over the last week. Ukraine fired into Russia. Russia took out the electrical system in Odessa.
Jesus.
Yeah. But I think it was just an hour ago. I mean, I'm not sure what concretely this means, but maybe Putin's down to meet again now. But I believe it was either earlier today or yesterday, Bessent announced harder sanctions on Russia. And so, it seems like there's a unified front against BRICS as a competitor, and they're trying to get this done through deals.
I mean, you know, it's so I guess it took the United States about 2 years to actually formally, and not formally, to materially acknowledge that they had lost the war. So between 73 and 75, 73 is when they begin the formal withdrawal of troops. But 75 is when they actually finally completely leave. You know, so I'm just thinking, like, how barbaric it is for the West, the US, and Trump is sort of stuck in the middle here, but the West as a collective, you know, dragging this out when we all know that the Viet Cong have won, that the Russians have won. I mean, they've held basically the same amount of territory for the entire duration of the war. I mean, since March of 2022, they've held the Donbass and Crimea. There's not been much. They've actually added a little bit, Zaporizhia and Kherson, pieces of it. So, you know, it's been about 20% of Ukraine in the east and the south that they've controlled, with very little variation for 3+ years now. And they're kidnapping old men off the streets to fight in the army in Ukraine because they have so few people left to fight. And there are massive military graveyards all across Ukraine, full of, you know, we don't know, but it's in the hundreds of thousands now dead. You know, they just can't fight. I mean, no matter how many HIMARS missiles and, you know, Starlink networks they are given, they can't defeat the Russian army. and everybody has known this. Everybody has known this for a long time. I mean, I think they've known it for more than 2 years. I think they've known it probably since the summer of 2022, just a few months into it. Western imperialist propagandists, meaning the entire US government and all of the think tanks that support it, have simply denied that, and have invented, battlefield numbers, casualty numbers, and for years and years. But finally, that sort of broke down about a year ago, and especially after Bakhmut fell, it just became overwhelmingly obvious that Ukraine had no chance unless the United States itself intervened directly with boots on the ground. I mean, which is not going to happen. So, I mean, that is the only way. Even the Western European countries don't have enough armies to do it. Even if they did intervene themselves directly, they couldn't probably defeat the Russian army. Only the US could do it. And only by, so anyway, so, and it's been now, about a year of this sort of like stalemate kind of negotiation shit, where everybody knows what the outcome will be. But to my mind, the West is simply dragging it out for various reasons, and Zelensky has pressures on him to make it drag out. There's about 10 to 20% of the Ukrainian political world that is actual neo-Nazi, who will kill him and have threatened to kill him and have promised to kill him if he ever settles in a way that gives up part of Ukraine to Russia. I mean, they think of Nazis the way that they think of, the Ukrainian Nazis think of Russians the way that Nazis thought about Jews. I mean, during the Holocaust, they are mostly anti-Russian racists. And the idea of giving over any portion of their country to Russians is beyond anathema. So there are all kinds of pressures, but, and that's what accounts for the dragging out. I get it. Mm-hmm. But it's still it's just horrific. It's like the last year of World War I, right? Where and the movies about this are true, and the depictions are just so horrific. You can't believe it. Like generals sending like legions of men across battlefields into machine gun fire when, the armistice has already been signed, or they know that there's no point in like gaining this territory. It's just some revenge thing, or, I mean, like killing thousands of men for no reason, and they knew it. It's that's what's been going on, and that's what's still going on. Russia has won this war. Russia has won that territory. Unless the United States sends the Marine Corps into the Donbass, that's what it's going to be. So it's time to accept that and stop the killing.
That's the deal proposed to Zelensky, is stop fighting, and whatever territory is disputed, give to Russia. Yeah.
Right.
And here we are.
It has been for about 2 years now, mm-hmm. Or a year at least. But like, even with Biden, that was basically sort of implicitly on the table. Yeah, I mean, you asked me this, or we talked about this like, a month ago, 2 months ago. It's the same answer for a long time now. Russia has won the war. We're waiting for the West to accept that, mm-hmm. and to force Zelensky to accept that. So that's all.
Yeah. Welfare queens, Bibi and Zelensky. That's all they are.
The biggest.
Yeah.
The biggest. My God. So we got 5 minutes. What do you want to do? Talk about music.
Talk about music.
College football. Women.
Yeah. Oh, the point I was making on Harry Sisson was that, and the left
women.
more broadly.
You want to talk about women?
Women, yeah.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Is the lack of seriousness in that Scott Horton's here making critiques of the empire that is being executed by Donald Trump, and they're not interested. They're literally not interested. Like it's like he's talking Greek to them. Like that's my problem. Like
restate that so I get it.
It seems like the organized opposition to Trump. Oh, and young people also. It's a critique that young people aren't professionally prepared to actually do politics or be serious people. But the other critique more broadly of the left is that they are uninterested in actual substantive critiques of Trump. It's fake critiques. So, for example, the shutdown. We haven't talked about the shutdown. We've been shut down for 3 weeks. We've never actually talked about it.
It's so boring.
Yeah.
There's always a shutdown.
Uh-huh.
In the last 20 years, how many shutdowns have there been? This is like,
yeah.
Newt Gingrich, there was a shutdown. It's always a good thing.
Uh-huh. Oh,
I wish every single one of my teachers had been fired. That would have been awesome.
Okay, this is something interesting.
I wish every single employee of the DMV were fired. I wish every member of the Internal Revenue Service were fired, laid off because of lack of funds, because of the budget being shut down. That'd be, wouldn't that, do we need the Marine Corps to invade other countries? That's what they're for. I don't know. It's all good.
So this is up your alley. The left. So you've got Cory Booker going on Jennifer Welch and Gavin Newsom. I forget what podcast he went on. Yes. But the left are starting to enter their own podcast space. They're starting to enter Yeah. And this is not going on adversarial podcasts. This is going on talking to their own base. And the professional political class is woefully unprepared for it.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom was asked about AIPAC, and he because the host said, "I'm not going to vote for anybody who takes $1 of AIPAC money." He's like, "Wow!" He just kept repeating the word "interesting." That's so interesting. Wow, because AIPAC never comes up.
No. You're missing it. See, so he and I are both children of Bay Area 1970s and 80s psychotherapeutic culture.
Yes,
it wasn't that so interesting. It's so interesting that you would say that.
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's
okay.
Huge.
That's deeper. That's deeper.
That's actually what he said. So that's what he meant, and that's what he's trying to fucking do.
Yeah.
Which is the deepest form of fascism.
I'm not tuned to that level of lying.
Everybody, dead Kennedys, California, uber alles. That's Gavin Newsom. Anyway, so it is. It's a fascism, totalitarianism, not Trump. Trump is an authoritarian. He's too stupid to be a totalitarian, which is that you actually devise mechanisms and means to cause people to internalize whole systems of thought that place you at the top of their hierarchy of power. So Trump's not able to do that. He has his own cult of personality, but it's not a proper fascist movement in that they are, making him the actual dictator and giving him actual monarchical powers. But Gavin Newsom, the entire progressive tradition is that, FDR is their hero, and that's exactly what FDR did. So it's just an amazing, fascinating ideological battle that's happening in American politics between the two sort of significant strains in American politics, the progressive, what I call fascism, totalitarianism, and what I would call right-wing American reactionary, authoritarian, violent, vigilante politics. Those are the two main strains. The left progressive liberal thing has been dominant forever until now. And now finally the cowboys are shooting back, and they're hitting their targets essentially. But anyway, I think that's what's going on.
Mm-hmm. The psychoanalyze, the sneaky psychoanalyzing of the. Why would you? That's yeah. Oh,
it's so gross. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's another level because he's it's
just so interesting that you would say that, Michael.
Yeah,
as a white man, in Indiana, of German ancestry, like that you would be
that you would be
of a privileged background, and feels entitled to appropriate the cultures of indigenous people of color. I just think it's interesting that you not it's interesting as an abstract philosophical concept that Plato introduced. No, it's that it's interesting that you, given your positionality, given your place in the world, given your identities, it's interesting that you, given all your multiple oppressive identities, would choose a political position, a particular political position. And we might just find it interesting that this particular political position comes from people like Michael Weimer, is what Gavin Newsom says.
Yeah.
And my mother said.
Dodging the question while signaling the secret police.
No, they are the secret police.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes, right. Just without the lamp and without the straps, because you've been taught to believe that they actually are the experts and they know the truth and you should obey.
Yeah. And then Cory Booker on Jennifer Welch. I've only accepted $800,000 from AIPAC. It's nothing, I work hard for normal Americans. They've only given me $800,000, and you know what? I don't like Bibi. You know what? I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm just, there's a lot of problems out there. You know what? He might even be worse than Trump. I'll say that right now, and that's all. Clueless with their base. Yeah.
Who's the there's one major congressional race that's being challenged more than one. So Maine is one. Is it Virginia? There's at least two. No, there's one in Florida, at least three that I'm aware of, major congressional races that are being challenged by actual basically anti-Zionists. Candidates, I think they're all Democrats so far, although there will be a Republican, I'm sure, just saying I'm opposed to all aid to Israel across the board. Which is what I predicted, on this show 2 years ago when the slaughter started in October 23. I said, that's going to be the main result, is that you're going to find a sea change in American politics and people are going to shift radically, and even Republicans. And that's what we're seeing. And I said, and then when we saw the polls come out, like Zoomers and even younger millennials all millennials are like 80 to 90% anti-Israel now. I said, when those kids, your generation, become old enough to be in Congress, they're going to dominate and Israel is done. And so I'm telling you once and forever, again, Zionists, there are some people watching this who live in Israel who are Zionists. I mean, you don't have to leave tomorrow. You don't have to rush, I don't think. But I would proceed with alacrity in packing your bags, actually, because I don't see 10 to 20 years from now there being any support for your fucking shit in this country, which means that unless you can find some other superpower to support your project, you're done. As a Jewish ethno-state, if you're willing to live in a binational state, democratic state, then we're cool. You think you'll be slaughtered and your children will be sold into sex slavery and whatever, but whatever. Or you can just move to places where the intelligent Jews moved, like the United States. You know, LA is awesome. Same weather as Israel. Jews are pretty much just as powerful, and you'll have a great time. So anyway, yeah, I think Israel's done. I mean, I just do. I have thought this for a while now, and it's just more, I'm just more convinced. But anyway, the ceasefire is a fraud. I mean, the ceasefire was a fraud. The plan was a fraud. It's over now. Israel's bombing. I don't know if you've seen the videos, but there's just like clouds of bombs across Gaza for the last 2 days since Monday morning, I think. They just started bombing the shit out of Gaza again, claiming that Hamas opened fire on them in Rafah, and then Hamas produced evidence that what happened was an Israeli tractor rolled over one of its own unexploded ordnance, blew themselves up. Netanyahu used that as the pretext to relaunch the assault, which never stopped. I don't think a day went by when they didn't kill people. They never even obeyed the ceasefire. I mean, I think every single day there were multiple Palestinians killed by the IDF. You know, it's clear that the dominant faction now in the Israeli government, you know, will not stop until, guess what? You know, Gaza is clean. They might not stop until the West Bank is clean too, but they certainly won't stop until Gaza is clean. I think that's now clear. That's not every Israeli. That's not every Israeli politician even. That's not even every maybe member of the Netanyahu's coalition, although probably most, if not all. But anyway, you know, I know that there are still many Israelis who don't want that, don't believe in that, are opposed to that. But, you know, Zionism has now found its purest, truest form, which is Bibi Netanyahu. He's the true Zionist. He's their real leader. This is what Zionism has always been, always needs to be, always should be, according to its own logic. And now, like the neocons in American foreign policy, to me, they're just the purest form of American imperialism. They're not exceptions at all. They're actually its fullest expression. Likud is just the fullest expression. Ben Gvir, who's not Likud, the right, super right wing, they're the true Zionists. They're the ones who actually understand what Zionism really is. And finally, after 70 plus years, that faction is convinced the liberal, oh, I don't want to hurt the Westerners' feelings, and I'm sort of a socialist, and I'm a humanitarian Jew, and I have, you know, internationalist feelings because I come from an Ashkenazi socialist family in Poland, and so and I don't like hurting inferior people, blah, blah, blah. No, they've lost, you know, and now since the second Intifada, so it's about 20 years, they've been dominant, and they're right. The Palestinians as a group, as a category, as a class, as a majority, will never, have never, and won't allow a Jewish ethnostate in Palestine without resistance. They just won't. And, you know, anyway, so.
Oh, History of American Left starts tomorrow night. History of American Left.
It does.
Unregistered Academy.substack.com.
It's going to be so good. Can't wait. And Ben Burgess, I just did an amazing interview with Ben Burgess speaking of the history of the American left, which will be released, I think, tomorrow. Yeah, it should be tomorrow. And if you want to watch that interview with Ben and I, we talk about political violence, Charlie Kirk, the American left. It's an amazing interview. Check it out. Become a member. Paid subscriber of Substack on Thaddeus Russell at Substack. So I think Michael's gone. He's thrown me off, and I will just say goodnight. Or should I wait? I don't know. Chat, should I wait for Michael to come back? Or should I just... Oh, he's coming back. I will wait. I will wait. Partly because I don't know how to sign off.
Here, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You're back. We love you.
I'm good to sign off.
Everyone's been waiting. Okay, all good. You ready?
Yep. ThaddeusRussell.substack.com. See you at the after party.
After your show. Substack. Go to my Substack if you want to join us. That's all.
Cool. Peace.